Hello, my name is Brian Massey. I'm from Texas. I have a deep affinity for Israel because of my faith in Jesus Christ. He's a Jew, and He's coming back to the land of Israel. I long for His return. When Israel was attacked on October 7th, I was shocked. I thought that that would never happen, not in my lifetime, yet it did. Whenever I saw the tragedies begin to be revealed through Hamas's own videos, I realized that this war involved me, my family, our community, because Israel is the front line of the fight to keep democracy. There are enemies of democracy. There are enemies of the way of life as we know it. Don't think for one moment that they're not coming for us. We have got to stand now while we have the strength to muster, while we have the capacity to reach out and to link hands and grab shoulders and hold up one another. Israel is that to us in Texas and the United States, where we must come alongside Israel and support her. I had the opportunity to go visit some soldiers on the front line on the Lebanese border in northern Israel. We went, a group of us, to visit a base. That's what it was called whenever we were organizing the trip, a base. What I had imagined was not what was on the ground. When we pulled up, there were 3 vehicles filled with Americans, accompanied by Israeli soldiers, and we pulled up to a place that I would call sort of the point. It was a camp, and the camp was, it had soldiers for patrolling. They had a little tent for barracks, and they had guys that were, they were alert around the clock. When I say on the front line, when I say the border, guys, I could have taken a rock and just thrown the rock up over the berm and thrown it across the fence at the border. We were right on the border. And we were in an area where missiles and rockets and mortars and things that had been weaponry of the enemy had been assaulting these communities. And that's where the soldiers were at. The communities had been evacuated long ago because of the barrages that were coming in. We pulled up to that place, and we had learned that there had been an incursion by 3 terrorists just about an hour before our arrival. The Israeli soldiers, the IDF, was going to go in and try to take out the soldiers, but they decided to call in the coordinates to a tank battalion who fired and took out the terrorists. Had we been a little bit earlier, we wouldn't have been able to go in. When we went, we got to greet some of the young soldiers and their kids. Their kids. Yes, there's some older soldiers that are officers and those that have been in reserve. They're reservists, have been for a while, but I saw kids that are they're the front line of the fight to keep democracy. And it's so important for us to support them. We were told by the captain that there's an open area that we're going to go across, and we're going to have to sort of speed across that because we're exposed. We had a total of 4 vehicles, including the military Humvee, and we zoomed across the place of exposure, the open place at the top of the hill, and went down into a town. This town was the base. In that town, the people had been living, they had been possessing the land. That's what God told them to do. The Bible contains the deed to this land, and it belongs to Israel, the descendants of Jacob, Israel. And they were possessing it. They were under attack. They evacuated. The soldiers go in, they set up camp there. While we're standing there, we were there to deliver military gear, vests, and first aid kits, some food, and some other things for the soldiers. There's not enough for the soldiers to have, not enough equipment, not enough gear, because they called up so many reservists. There wasn't enough on the shelves, if you will, to equip each of the soldiers adequately. So we're trying to help. They're the front line of the fight for democracy. While we were there, we were alerted that there was an imminent threat, and we had to get into the bunker. The group of us go into the bunker, and we continue to visit with the soldiers. We're going to evacuate because the Command and Control Center had alerted the officers that were talking with us that the threat was near. We needed to evacuate. We would go outside, and they say, oh, we got to go back inside the bunker. The unit, the squad, they dispatched the radio man to us. See, they had been talking via cell phone, but they sent the radio guy to us so that there wouldn't be an intermediate line of communication. They were really trying to make sure that we were protected. And so we went back in the bunker again, and we were questioned by the officers there of, why would you come? Why would you come to a place where there's a threat to your life, where it's dangerous? And several of us answered, I'm not the only one, but we all love Israel. We love Israel deeply because, again, our faith journey has woven a thread of the love for Israel into our hearts, into our lives, where, you know, we're compelled to stand with Israel. And I was talking to the guys, the officers there, and an older gentleman came into the bunker. His name was Raphael. And Raphael was, he appeared to be in his 70s, maybe mid-70s, and he was a pioneer who had settled in that community, and he refused to have fear and stay away. He said he got so homesick that he had to come back, and he was living right there alongside the soldiers defending his home. It was powerful. Whenever the time came for us to evacuate, we were told we can't go back the way that we came. The soldiers transitioned from a military vehicle to a civilian vehicle to limit the risk, and we went through pastures, opening gates, and there was a goat that got out, and I grew up on a farm, so I wanted to put the goat back in, and we're, you know, closing the gates as we drive through, and eventually we get back down the mountain. This is the real world that the Israelis live in right now. They have never needed support and a demonstration, an active expression of our love for Israel than they need right now. There is still a threat, and it's a growing threat. You saw there was the attack from Iran, and I saw where Gidal Erdan, he's the Israeli and UN ambassador, he's made a statement in his response to the Security Council, that emergency meeting that they called. He said that the nation of Israel is not a nation of frogs. He said it's a nation of lions. And I saw lions, but they need our help. They need support for equipment. They need support for encouragement. They need to know that we are with them. Those from our country who would say otherwise, they don't represent us. Take a stand, be bold, stand against the propaganda of the media. They're trying to tell you something that's not true. If Israel were to lay down her weapons, she would be destroyed. If Hamas or Hezbollah would lay down their weapons, the war would end immediately. They're not the aggressor. They're just trying to protect themselves. Don't be fooled. Be courageous. Stand alongside them. Be a lion as well.